This episode is all about a hardy garden companion that heals the soil and tastes delicious. What more could you want in life? Hi, I'm Robin, and I've been filming my small edible garden over the last year and a bit and featuring a different plant each week. Hopefully I get to about 200 edible plants and 200 episodes. And this episode I'm featuring one of Australia's most well-known and favourite bush tucker plants, Saltbush. This is Australian saltbush, and it has been known to Indigenous Australians for thousands of years as a culinary plant. One of the interesting things about saltbush is that it is indigenous to vast proportions of countries across the globe, and a good percentage of those are edible. Australia's got about 61 varieties of saltbush, and a large proportion of those are edible. The most well-known for Australians is Old Man Saltbush. The value of Australian saltbush was very underrated in the post-colonial period, and I think it was often thought of as a last resort plant for farmers during periods of drought to keep their stock going. About 50 years ago, though, a lot of agricultural research went into this plant, and a greater understanding of its properties have been revealed over the decades, and it is often now a staple in agriculture. It is well known now as a healer of the land. It reduces salt in the soil and also can reduce the water table because it's got really deep roots. And it also has high nutrition and great benefit for livestock if they're feeding on it. My chickens absolutely love saltbush, if that's any indication of the appeal to livestock, and they'll often seek it out as the first thing in the garden to pick at, which I'm not saying is a good thing. In the process of planting these two pots here, I accidentally put one down and forgot about it for a very short amount of time, and before I knew it, the chicken had got into it and plucked all its leaves off before I got to even plant it. And so all this is to say that this plant, if it can survive well in a field with sheep grazing it, is a good plant for your garden in that it is low maintenance, low water and low care. It doesn't even really require much pruning, although I have seen some nice shapes that people have put the plant into. Saltbush is a good container plant and also grows equally well in the ground. When you purchase saltbush, it'll often be described as frost tolerant, but I think it's a little hardier than that, especially if you grow it in amongst other plants. It survives in my garden in a variety of spaces, and I'm in a bit of a frost pocket. In my garden, I haven't really noticed any slug or snail issues, but this little guy really does wreak havoc. Being an Indigenous creature, he has a taste for saltbush and finds it wherever I put it, including little cuttings. So you can see that these little cuttings have been munched off from the top, and I know who it is. It's not my chickens because it was out of their reach. I haven't really got a solution to this problem yet, but I notice that this plant grows very well in my local park where there are possums, and it seems to grow in abundance. So I will be looking into some barriers when the plant is young, and I think it can withstand munching when it is an older plant. In Australia, Indigenous edible plants have really grown in the high-end restaurant sector. Everybody knows finger lime and macadamias, and saltbush is one of those plants as well that generally feature on the menu of restaurants that specialise in Australian flavours. But it's a plant that is growing from strength to strength. For people that are into water-wise gardens, it doesn't require very much water. If you've got a full sun to semi-shade aspect, and most soils, it even handles the clay soils of my region. Saltbush doesn't like a boggy soil, so well-drained soil. If you're using commercial potting mix, choose an Australian native bag, because saltbush, like most other Australian native plants, is sensitive to phosphorus, and if your soil is incredibly depleted, the plant might benefit from a bit of liquid worm juice or something, but generally it's a plant that will just exist in the soil that you have. Saltbush is very easy to propagate from cuttings. This one was done some time ago. Go for semi-soft wood cuttings, not too woody, not too soft. People tend to do the cuttings too big, and it's good to go small with just a few leaves on the top. You can dip the end in honey, and that's a good replacement for root hormone. I don't usually bother with honey or rooting hormone, and these plants are quite easy to propagate from cuttings. One of the things that go wrong for me is that wildlife find them and eat them. These were the same age, and this one just got snaffled the other day. So I have attrition, but it's generally wildlife. Saltbush can be grown by cuttings. Also, you can see here that if you put some soil over one of the branches, that branch will form roots as well, and that's a very solid way to propagate saltbush. Also, it grows by seed, and to germinate, saltbush seeds should be soaked overnight. The best time to prune saltbush is in late winter or early spring, and as with most pruning, cut back to a leaf or a node. Some other little tips. The plant does have quite deep roots, and that forms part of the restoration value of the plant, in that it can put its roots deep into the ground and soak up areas that other plants can't reach. While the plant is water wise, you do get a better flavour if you water the plant a bit. When harvesting, the mature leaves have a nicer flavour. The flavour is herby and lightly salty. You can dry the leaves and use them as a dry herb. The oven should be about 170 degrees. Preheat the oven, turn the oven off, and then place the herbs in to dry for about an hour. They should be nice and crisp and not moist, and they last up to about 6 months in the jar. They can also be eaten fresh in salads. But I much prefer my saltbush as a cooked herb, and this saltbush, Warrigal greens, feta and onion tart is a winner. I make it using an almond meal base rather than wheat flour, and blind bake the base until it's golden brown at about 180 degrees centigrade. Saltbush, lemon, myrtle and mountain pepper are 3 great Australian flavour companions. I'm going to be cooking with these later, but first, 92-year-old artist Joyce and friends are going to have a go at looking at these companions differently. So this is saltbush, mountain pepper and lemon myrtle. This is standard veggie soup, but I'm adding mountain pepper, a generous handful of saltbush and lemon myrtle, and heroing their flavours. It works really well together. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching all the way through to the end, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!